Thank you for coming, everyone. And my name is Tetsuya Nakamura, and I'm in charge on the entire AWS Telco business 5G networking side, including core and the radio. I'm really glad to honored to having today to this panel, including from DOCOMO, NEC, and the Qualcomm and Canonical. So today we really want to discuss how we can make a success in such short time frame in the all-cloud environment with our partner who are NTT DOCOMO. I really want to ask each panel to introduce yourself and your company and your role. Could you from Tanoue-san?
Yes. Hello everyone. So my name is Katsumi Tanoue from NEC. I'm a general manager of the Global Mobile Solution Department, and I'm in charge of the mobile product business, including RAN and core for the market outside Japan.
Hi everybody, I'm Giaretta from Qualcomm, and I'm VP and GM for 5G radio infrastructure product. So I'm responsible of the 5G radio infrastructure in Qualcomm.
Hi there, my name is Arno from Huyssteen. I'm the CTO for Global Service Provider at Canonical, the company behind Ubuntu. And I'm responsible for the telco strategy, including product, delivery, pre-sales, solution architectures.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. My name is Masafumi Masuda. I'm leading RAN development and operation at NTT DOCOMO, which is a leading mobile company in Japan with 19 million mobile subscribers. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we already make a big success announcement from AWS press release on Monday in the day one, first day in the MWC 2024 on February 26th. Finally, NTT DOCOMO be part as a result of the tech validation in last year. NTT DOCOMO select us, including NEC, Qualcomm, and Canonical, and also AWS. This combination as be part of their nationwide 5G ORAN deployment, and that's a huge impact and a huge honor for all of us as a partner to meet DOCOMO's such high value requirements, and especially for AWS viewpoint. To be open, so before the tech validation in last year, AWS EKS Anywhere have never tested with NEC's DU and CU, and likewise to a Qualcomm's X100 accelerator, we have never tested and integrated with our EKS on top of that. Likewise, although Ubuntu is already have a very matured partner with us on top of the EKS Anywhere, but we have never tested the Ubuntu's real-time OS because that's a necessary requirement for DU workload. And I could not believe in such a short time frame, within 3 or 4 months, we made it success to fully integrate it, including a DU and the CU and connect to the whole end-to-end PDU session. And that's such short time frame integration. Because EKS Anywhere is just a Kubernetes, I really very curious and ask each our partner, including NEC and Qualcomm and Canonical, how do you believe how we can make it success in such a short time frame? Could you please a little bit elaborate about what is your technical and business challenge you face, and how you could and your company make a success integration with the EKS from Tanoue-san?
Yes. So let's start from technical. So for the network function virtualization, we have a very long-term history starting from 4G EPC. It's just 10 years back. And also our core network is already commercialized in the 4G and 5G. The commercial in the DOCOMO network and also the another operator as well. But for the virtual RAN, it's quite new challenges for us because so we'd like to utilize our experience from the core networks as much as possible. But for the concerned RAN, it's a little bit different from the core network. For example, the distribution of the DU is different from core network, and also the real-time, the performance requirement is also different from the core network. Those are quite important aspects, and also together with our partner, we'd like to success. Also, the history with DOCOMO is quite long. It's more than 30 years, I think. And we have a lot of knowledge about DOCOMO's requirement especially for the quality, reliability, and also performance, capacity, something like that. So we'd like to share with our partner regarding this the hidden requirement from Docomo, and also make it successful. And business side, it's a virtual LAN itself. From the network function point of view, it's the same as a traditional LAN. But for the introducing the virtual LAN, the hardware is different from traditional. So that means the code server can be utilized. So the NEC is an IT company and also network company. We are in the unique position. And also AWS, I think the partners also have some channel for the IT area. So the IT application may bring some of the additional the revenue opportunity for the customer like Docomo. So then together with our partners, so we'd like to also make the business successful.
Thank you, Tanoue-san. And how about you, Gerardo, from a Qualcomm's viewpoint?
So in this solution, right, Qualcomm provides the inline accelerator card, the X100 accelerator card that implements the layer 1 functionality for vRAN. And it was a very coordinated effort with AWS and NEC on this. One advantage that we have seen is that the inline accelerator provides somehow the right or simplified split between the layer 2, layer 3 functionality and the layer 1 functionality. So the integration that we had with the EKS was mostly about the management of the card and the management of the PCI card, and not much about the layer 1 software, because the layer 1 software was somehow isolated in the card. And that's a key point, because layer 1 has very, very stringent requirement in terms of low latency, high capacity. So the architectural solution that we chose with NTT DOCOMO and NEC really helped in being so fast in the delivery of the solution. It would have been very different if we had to integrate also the full layer 1 into EKS. So that's been definitely an advantage of that. And now, of course, from business perspective, right, I think it's always good to have the pressure from NTT DOCOMO, right, because then everybody gives the best. And I think it has been a great teamwork across all the companies, which is a key business and engineering aspect of Open RAN, right? Really identifying a set of companies that are all trying to solve together as a single team, as a one team, the problem without finger pointing each other when an issue comes up, right? And I think on that has been a very, very good teamwork across all the companies. And again, thanks Masuda-san for the leadership and squeezing us, because without that squeeze we couldn't do it. So I think that was good.
Completely agree. Thank you, Gerard. And then Arno, how about you from a Canonical's Ubuntu's viewpoint?
Well, I think for us it's exceptionally important to understand that the outcomes that you will achieve in complicated situations in production networks like this is not something that starts when you face the customer, but actually a journey over some time in the enablement phases when it comes to the silicon and the capabilities within the operating system that enables our customers to freely choose their parts of the system that they're trying to deploy in production. For us, it's very important to ensure that in long-term relationships like with AWS and our other partners, that the capabilities within the operating system allows you freedom, and the capabilities is focused on the outcomes of engineering effort that sees us span 24 months in some cases, just to be able to say you can freely choose those inclusions. I think this outcome is a very good example of what it looks like when there are no exclusive clubs, no lock-in mechanisms, no open source as a marketing term, versus having all of the technical inclusions in the enablement phases, but also the drivers and the mechanisms that you need to run the system. We specifically, I think in this case, every time we do something complex where we get challenged by a customer who is more innovative, who really focuses on the challenges of wanting to do this the right way and ensuring that those challenges meet their demands for things like national critical infrastructure, emergency calls, networks that serve their customers. There is a focus from us as well on quality and ensuring that they can consume the types of effort we've put in over time. I think one of the challenges we faced here specifically was if the customer chooses modular inclusions in a RAN system like an open RAN system here, just the ability to deal with out of tree drivers, for instance, within the kernel. I think the modularity that we looked at the mechanism, the architecture, and we quite quickly decided that there is a better way to do this without changing fundamentally what we're putting out into the market and the capabilities for others to consume. So the learnings from this effort as well, although it was quick and fairly easy, I would say, if you compare it to other deals, is really what made it now into our Ubuntu Pro offer for others to consume. So every learning that we have with customers that challenge us a little bit sees us going outside our comfort zone, focusing our engineering effort, and then ensuring that that engineering effort is also available to other customers if they so choose.
Yeah, completely agree. Thank you, Arno. And we are definitely curious from a customer's viewpoint, Masuda-san. So ideally, we would like to ask you, as a result of the last year's tech validation, you did decide and conclude, oh, this solutions combination with this partner's combination is meet your high requirements. So could you a little bit tell us that, how and what is the value, what kind of a value you find it from this partner's combination?
Sure. So just a quick history. NTT DOCOMO, we started 5G commercial service back in March 2020 with a multi-vendor configuration using ORAN Alliance specifications. And now we are deploying VLAN. And yes, as Tetsuya mentioned, we at DOCOMO, we selected AWS, NEC, Qualcomm, Canonical, and some other vendors, code server hardware and network equipment vendors for our nationwide VLAN deployment, which is happening within this year. That's where we are. And the reason why DOCOMO selected your solutions, this combination, is simply to say it's your solutions or this configuration is competitive enough to win our RFP process. And it's not just desktop. Part of the process is we tested, as you mentioned, we tested and validated real equipment, really configured, integrated VCU and VDU in our test environment. It's exactly the same as our commercial development testing environment. And this combination passed all the test items and criteria. That's a reason we DOCOMO selected you guys and this configuration. And I'm not pressing but we are working together and moving fast together. So I agree with Gerardo that that's the beauty of Open RAN, right?
Yeah.
So that's where to answer your question. And one more thing to additional value. Let me focus on just AWS because this panel is hosted by AWS.
Thank you very much.
So my personal expectation is that AWS ecosystem, because our partnership is not just RAN. We are testing 5GC on AWS, and we are working with Project Kuiper and back to RAN. For example, AI workload may be working on VLAN computing, video computing resources. Same, Web3 workload may be working on video computing resources, which are those workload may be already working on AWS public cloud. So then we can leverage the AWS ecosystem. We can just port those applications to VDU to realize edge computing and edge AI and edge Web3 applications and stuff like that. That's my personal expectation to potentially to be added in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Masuda-san. Actually, you already well promoted our value prop because this is exactly my second and last topic, what the future looks like. Because as you already point out, AWS is not only just a class EKS Anywhere provider, but why? Because people may ask, why AWS? Our answer will be, our value is not really like edge and the cloud. And cloud continuum is a real cloud, which means like a generative AI, and more observability, and then some of the like data lake type of more processing on the region fully managed by us to provide with truly like an end-to-end continuum. So this is, at least in my view, that's AWS value to the customer as well as a partner. And I'm just curious about what is the future looks like? What is the next step from each partner's viewpoint? Could you tell me about your future plan and how to accelerate the network transformation from NEC's and Qualcomm and Canonical's viewpoint?
Yes, actually, so the NEC's collaboration with AWS started from the core network, and the September in the 2 years back in the MWC Las Vegas. So we announced the power efficiency using our real 5GC software on top of AWS Graviton 2 processor. We can achieve the significant power reduction compared to the current the Intel-based architecture. So the current, as all everyone knows, so the current one of the headache for the operator is power consumption. So as a next step, also together with AWS, we'd like to establish the power efficient network. So this is for the technical, and also for the business side. So since the AWS has a very good channel for the which we cannot approach. Actually, on this Monday, the very beginning of this MWC, we announced together with Docomo to establish the joint venture, OREX SAI. So this is quite very excited. And so last year, the Docomo-san announced the OREX packages, and also the recently AWS joined these OREX packages. And then, so the objective of this OREX SAI is to expand the business for the worldwide. So we are happy to AWS as a partner is joining for these OREX packages. So then, together with our partners, we'd like to expand business worldwide.
Thank you, Tanoue-san. How about you, Gerardo, from a Qualcomm's viewpoint? What is the future plan?
Yeah, I would separate between like a little bit technical and business aspect, right? On the technical side, I think there is a typical radio enhancement that we need to do going forward in the Docomo network, including, for example, the additional Massive MIMO eventually, and multi-user MIMO and so forth, that will add the complexity on the vRAN solution. I think we have the right architecture that we have developed for that. The architecture is very extensible, not only Qualcomm, but the entire set of partners that we have here, right? So that was, again, a very good selection from Docomo-san, because it's a way to have a platform that can expand on additional deployment, more capacity, more users, and so forth, right? The other aspect that I think I think Masuda-san mentioned is the role of AI in the network, right? At different layers, at the layer 1 where we implement stuff, but also a higher layer, and also the aspect of using this platform that we are creating for additional AI workloads. That's really going to be transformative to the network, right? And then on the business side, I think I want to echo what Tanoue-san was saying, which is I think this can be the starting point can be a Japan domestic Docomo network, but with the OREX initiative and the joint venture between NTT DOCOMO and NEC, I think we can take the same solution that we are testing now, we will deploy at Docomo, and replicate that in many different networks, creating really, I would say, the first really scalable Open RAN solution, right, that has been fully tested nationwide. I think that is going to be important in the next 2 years to expand the business and also the overall ORAN reach worldwide.
Thank you, Gerard. And how about you, Arno?
Well, I think as one of the ecosystem partners and a long-time ecosystem partner of AWS, being one of the most adopted Linuxes in the world, we have a responsibility to ensure that when open source gets used, it is actually functional, secure, production grade, but unlocks economies of scale that is not possible with other traditional systems. So for us, it's important to play our role in this ecosystem. We've seen demand from the market in terms of the types of things more traditionalist cadences of adoption of technology requires within the telco space, where customers cannot, even if they like the innovation and enhancement and the continuous cadence of releases of open source software stacks like Kubernetes or other parts of that stack, it is literally impossible if you roll out thousands of units to move at that same cadence. We will work with our ecosystem partners to ensure that they can have bug fixes, support, and security maintenance, so that the runway in which the telco has to upgrade is extended to meet their own appetite for upgrades, lifecycle management, scaling. So what we're committing to do is obviously make that a first-class citizen with our partners. We are one of the most used Linuxes on AWS today, and we continue that work today. So if customers like NTT DOCOMO wants to consume their spends through AWS, that is a choice for the customer. That ability for them to do that is not for us to question, but for us to actually enable more of. So we will continue to support all of our customers in this way.
Thank you, Arno, and that's great news. And to wrap up this panel, Masuda-san, you already answered a little bit in the before, but could you share with us about your next step expectation to all this work?
Sure. So firstly, we are planning to have commercial launch of this VLAN configuration within this year, and followed by some enhancements. Gerardo already mentioned Massive MIMO, Category B, ULPI. That's a #1 priority for NTT DOCOMO. And I echo what Tanoue-san and Gerardo mentioned, OREX. So DOCOMO is also promoting our open RAN outside Japan. And as OREX partners and OREX products, and including the joint venture company OREX SAI with NEC, Tanoue-san mentioned, that's also my expectation, our DOCOMO's expectation. I mean, if many operators across the world use the same configuration, this configuration, that will bring us economies of scale. That will also the big benefit for DOCOMO. So through the OREX activities, we are working together and to promote open RAN outside Japan. That's the second one. And lastly, but not least, I would like to create value together. That's I think that including AI and Web3 stuff. That's my expectation, and I'm looking forward to further collaboration with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Masuda-san, and thank you for coming to this panel, Masuda-san, Arno, and Gerardo, and Tanoue-san, from all of this winning combination. I really appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.